Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Jace Beleren Must Die, episode number 7, in fact. And frankly, I'm surprised he's not dead yet, with how effective this crew has been at. Well, I guess you've been pretty effective at like hiding in alleys and flirting with NPCs, so that's good. It's going great.
Why do you hurt me so early?
Listen, we gotta start off.
Personally attacked on this one, but yeah,
you know what? It's fine.
Just go off. It's fine.
It's totally fine. So,
in our defense, if Jace Beleren were here,
that's
he
true.
would be dead.
Yeah, probably. Someone in the comments for the last episode of the episode before it was saying that for them, the ultimate conclusion of this would be that Jace Beleren dies by like slipping and falling in the shower, like outside of the campaign completely. Yeah. And you all just get to attend.
My grease trap.
Yeah, you just attend his funeral. Like, well, problem solved, everybody.
Mission accomplished. We did it.
But Whittaker, how did you cast that spell to make that banana just appear in his back?
It's just the series finale of 6 Feet Under, where just like that slow song plays in the background. We see Jace Beleren in his car and like what his future holds, his kids and growing old.
Yep. Well, that's I'm making notes. We'll see where we end up. Though actually looking at some of the upcoming Magic stuff, I'm a little worried that Wizards has stolen my idea and that Jace is going to die in this new expansion.
Oh,
wow.
Don't do it. I need him. He's part of the premise of the show. Do not take him away from me.
Alternate universe. There we go.
That's true.
Or they're surprising us and we're in the Magic again.
Yep.
And they're just watching along being like, yes.
Yeah.
That seems likely.
I feel like all 4 of these characters would make excellent Magic cards. I think it would be
Vinegar. A 2 to cast, 2 to cast 1/1. It takes 3 turns to attack.
Whittaker is one of those cards where you like tap him to deal 1 damage to any target, but also he deals 1 damage to you by accident.
Yeah, I don't know anything about Magic, so Tack is a Yu-Gi-Oh card that got slipped.
Yeah, right. No, Tack would be one of those cards from one of the sets that's like a gag set where it's like when you play Tack, jam as many cookies as you can into your mouth, and for each cookie you can eat, deal 1 damage to any target.
Yes,
exactly.
Tack is just like from a Cards Against Humanity set, and like somebody has drawn them onto the card with like permanent marker.
You know, when I was a kid, we used to do that because I grew up in what I would consider to be the heyday of collectible card games, and so there were a lot of them for like everything, and so we'd have well-meaning relatives buy us packs of stuff and be like, "I got you some Magic cards," and we're like, "These are Wyvern cards, Grandma," and she's like, "That's right, they got a dragon on them," and we're like, "Okay, sure."
Wyvern cards.
So we'd end up with all these random card games.
You got the receipt?
Yeah, and just like mush them together into a deck and be like, all right, let's see if we can play a game based on whatever the rules are for the card you're playing at the time. It's very, very complicated and not fun in any meaningful way. But yes.
Activated my trap card.
Attack would be the accidental card from the wrong game, just stuck in there for some reason.
It's an Uno card. It's a reverse board.
Novelty poker set. Perfect. Good. I love it. Well, if anybody is feeling enterprising, Magic cards of these characters would please me a great deal. There's you can make them online, right? There's like Magic card generators,
proxy sites.
Yeah.
I'm excited for the hurtful thing they make Rhodes' ability.
Right. I think Torgor should not even say his name, but it should say Rakdos Loot Minotaur, like a random like sort of option that's just present.
Yeah.
I think Rhodes' ability would definitely be like leave combat, take a bath, come back 2 hours later. Deal 1 damage.
That's it.
Yeah, if your bath artifact is out on the playing field.
except that Road's one of those flip over cards, and when you summon the jumpsuit and equip it for Road, then she becomes super powerful.
Yeah, I'm all in.
I feel like Winnegar's photo would be like mostly Torgor's arm.
Oh yeah.
Like, Torgor's arm right here, and Winnegar's like this.
Wait, are you like the Mike Wazowski of this?
I think so. I think so.
He absolutely
I'm so
is.
into it. Oh my god.
I love it. I love it more
We
than
cracked the
anything.
code.
I feel like that conversation, like for groups that play Magic or are familiar with it at all, that's the same inevitable thing as like which alignment would what media personality be? Like watching a TV show and being like, well, RoboCop is clearly lawful evil and not lawful neutral, right? Like the like what Magic card would this character be, or what would they be like if they were a Magic card? Is an inevitable nerd conversation. It's a given. It happens. And you know what? I'm here for it. It's appropriate for this show. I wanted to take a second and check in with everybody, see how we're all doing, what everybody's been up to, and I want to start with Carlos because I know, Carlos, you may have to vanish at any moment. I assume your need to vanish has nothing to do with the fact that you were in, where are you, Vegas?
Yeah, I was in Vegas.
How was that?
It was so fun.
Yeah.
So we had Roll20 had a retreat, the company retreat, and so everyone works like offsite, like in different states all over. So some of us haven't even met. Like I only met 1 or 2 people, I think, prior to them. There's 20 people in the company. So there's people I webcam with and people that I write messages on Slack to, but I've never met them in person. And I got to meet them all this weekend. So that was a lot of fun. We all had a blast. It was a lot of work. Like, don't get me wrong. We were in like a conference room for like 10-hour days, just like working out stuff. But then I got to see those weirdos like sing karaoke, and
I saw a photo of Dean with the enormous stuffed cat head
Oh.
on at some point. I don't.
So Dean works in licensing. They live in New Orleans, and they have a giant cat head, like a la Dead Mouse or something.
Just to clear this up, Dean has a normal human head. They just also have a stuffed cat head. Just in case. English is a complicated language, and I just want to make sure everyone's clear. Dean's head is not the head of a cat. Just so we're all
Sure.
Okay.
Dean brought this giant cat head to Vegas. They, instead of having a bag to pack their stuff, they packed their stuff in the cat head and brought it to Vegas. So there's just all these pictures of Dean in the casino or on the strip just walking around with this cat, which I guess is not allowed in Vegas because they kept getting stopped by the cops like over and over again because you can't have
giant cat head.
Something over your face.
There you go.
But it was a lot of fun. Like we went to, average nerd stuff. Like more than gambling, we went to like a neon sign museum.
I've seen that I saw that in Step Up, the movie. I know exactly what you're talking about. It's so cool. Sorry, that was not helpful in this conversation. Yes,
No, it was very cool. I loved it. I thought it was great. I took tons of photos. But yeah, and we just played board games. And I think the funniest thing that I have is I have 5 different videos of people playing Overcooked on the Nintendo Switch. Like 4 people playing Overcooked on the Nintendo Switch, but they would lose, and then they would huddle up and try to come up with like, all the project managers would try to like figure out the best way to like delegate stuff. And I'm like, oh, wow, you guys can't leave work anywhere. It was just like, okay, your primary job is making burgers, but in your downtime, you need to be washing dishes.
That like was a project manager's job interview.
Can you make these 4 people beat this game?
Yeah.
I always love seeing that, like playing role-playing games with people and watching patterns from the rest of their life bleed into, like, whether it's their job or their hobbies, or bleed into their play. It's always so good, because I don't want to say this. I want to say this too pointedly for this group in particularly, but I think that you bring a lot of your own personality and stuff to your characters. And so you're like, yeah, cool, I'm gonna try and be somebody that I'm not. I mean, it's bad for me. I always play assholes, so I always wonder, I'm like, I should just stay in the GM's chair so I have I can spread that vibe around, because if I'm forced to play one character, I'm like, they're just gonna be the worst. It's gonna be all of that in one person. But it is funny watching the way that like you said, project managers are like, yeah, I'm gonna take on a backseat role and like help everybody else succeed.
Mhm.
Oh man, the funniest part, we played Secret Hitler. I don't know. Have you ever played Secret Hitler? It's so
Yeah.
fun.
I'm so good. Oh, that's such a good game. It's
Well,
so good.
I was not Hitler, okay? I definitely wasn't Hitler. But and I did nothing to make it seem like I was Hitler.
Which
Like,
inevitably means everyone assumed that you were. That's how that game
Oh,
works.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
and I was just like, oh yeah, it's definitely this person. And everyone's like, no, you're a liar. I'm like, no, it totally is. Look at what they're doing. And then someone stood up and was like,
Totally.
I don't trust this scumbag, and like points right at me. I'm like, oh my God, just that.
I love games like that. I love games where I can like sow doubt.
So
I had the opposite problem because I played it with my family and I was Hitler.
Mhm.
And afterwards, my mom was like, wow, I didn't know you could lie that well.
Oh man,
I'm sorry, Mom.
I'm sorry, mommy.
Yeah.
I won. Sorry.
Games like that, like in this Battlestar Galactica game where people are Cylons and things like that. If I'm not a Cylon, I'm still gonna act like a Cylon because I'm
Yeah.
kind of like I could still be a Cylon next time.
So their
yeah.
their follow-up game, the thing I do enjoy, I enjoy games like that, but in a group setting they can be very overwhelming because, as Carlos pointed out, there's a lot of pointing and yelling. And I tend to be like, okay, yeah, I'm Hitler, I'm done, I'm gonna go. I don't want to play with this anymore. But their
Don't yell at me.
follow-up, don't yell at Hitler. He's bad. Yell at him.
Always yelling.
Yeah. But in their follow-up game, it's a 2-player game, and you play it in 5 minutes, a 5-minute 2-player game called Inhuman Condition. And it's just the Voight-Kampff test from Blade Runner. And so one person is an investigator, and one person may or may not be a robot. And it's the job of the investigator to decide if this person is human or not after a 5-minute conversation. It's so
Oh my
fun
God.
because it's very focused and very intense, and there's not a lot of yelling.
Oh, I'd hate that.
no one has ever yelled at me in that
No.
game.
Not
I
not
like it. I really dig that.
Yeah.
prolonged eye contact. No.
Oh, it's
I think playing with
super fun.
us would be terrifying.
No.
Yeah, those kinds of games are fun because they feel like they sort of border on being like a little bit of a LARP, especially in Human Conditions, because it gives you like a role where it's like you're a construction worker or you're a failed diplomat or whatever, and so you kind of like, depending on who you're playing with, there's a degree of role playing that goes on.
Sure.
Yeah. You don't want to role play in
Awesome.
Secret Hitler. You don't want to. That's
Yeah.
you don't want to do that.
No,
Do that.
no, because if you do it well, you're the worst.
Yeah, right. Like, Carlos, you didn't have an Austrian accent before we started playing, so I'm just trying to get into character. Well, all right, game's over. Yep. Good stuff. Well, I think Carlos wins on the most interesting thing done with the cat heads and the Vegas. I don't know. Anybody else get up to anything good? TK, how's your show going? How's the spookiness?
Oh, Tales from the Mist. We are having our finale this Friday.
Mhm.
So we're very
I
excited
heard
about that.
that.
Yeah, we're very excited. And then gonna hang out at the D&D live stream, so that'll be cool. We got costumes and stuff.
Ah, cool.
Very pumped. Very pumped.
Yeah, that's exciting. So when you're doing a finale of a show,
Mhm.
now this is a season finale with the intention to return, or is this a finale with maybe a renewal? Like how final is your finale?
I don't know if my showrunner is watching, so I can't say anything.
Right. Okay, so I mean that's an answer too. Like, I don't know, because I've been in that position as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when you go in to do the episode, like what is your goals for a finale versus like a regular episode? Like, what do you want to accomplish when you do an episode like that?
Hypothetically, we will be, if we were doing multiple seasons, hypothetically, we would be doing one classic Ravenloft module a season.
Yeah.
So the adventure is ending, and then they will be sucked into the mists.
Mhm.
And then hypothetically, if there were more seasons,
Right, they would
be
yeah.
deposited in a different domain.
Yeah. But you would intend to go forward with the same characters and the same base
Yep.
premise. Okay, cool.
Yeah. And there would hypothetically be an overarching storyline that ties all the modules together, in theory.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. Cool. So it's like a wrap up on the current thing. Hopefully, like concise enough that if there's no return, then you've got like a finished story unit. But with this open-ended, I think that's very challenging to do. To like
it is a little.
Yeah, like it's. I'm not saying you're not going to do it. I'm sure you will. I've seen you GM, but I feel like that's a big challenge to put in front of you, to both give people a solid feeling conclusion, but also leave space for like, well, maybe we'll come back without it feeling like a like to be continued question mark.
Without it being like one of those things where you're sitting there watching the end of the 10th Kingdom and they're like, but that's for our next story, and then it's like, haha, they thought they were going to make more of these.
There's a very special anxiety that happens when you watch a movie and you realize that things have not cleared up, and you're looking at your watch and you're like, this has been going on for an hour and 58 minutes. What the hell? Yeah. And then it ends. You're like, no, I don't want to watch another movie in 2.5 years.
Oh yeah. There's definitely like, I do get into meta brain sometimes when I'm in like the movie theater and I'm like, boy, coming up on the last 20 minutes of this movie, huh?
Yeah, what do you got?
Yep. What's going on? Because I had a large combo. Like, it's been 3 hours.
Yeah,
let's please God. Yeah. So with ours, Feast of Goblins was the module that we did, which is a very long Ravenloft module.
Yeah,
I didn't do the whole story because, frankly, Akriel is unlikable, and the whole thing where they're like, "Oh, we're trying to take over the whatever," is I don't care about that. What I do care about was like a 1-sentence throwaway scenario that I read the first time I read through it, where they find a woman in the catacombs, and she's like, she's been kidnapped from her home. Because the main villain is using like beautiful young women in the area to prolong her youth. But like nobody talks about it the entire module. So I made that the main story.
Right. Yeah.
So that's now wrapped up. Essentially, there's going to be a boss fight in the finale. They know who did it. They know what happened to everybody. And so because that is the main story, there's not really a lot of loose ends.
Oh yeah, that's nice. That's nice you're able to kind of like wrap that up. I tend to add way too much like side content to stuff, and so for me, it's about being like, all right, let me write a list of all the loose ends, and let's try to finish those out. Let's try to make sure that we wrap that up.
In my notes, whenever I'm prepping and stuff, I have a column specifically for side quests that are being wrapped up that episode, or like side story that's being like wrapped up that episode or being introduced that episode. So I have a lot of things like, who is Thaddeus Scratch? Like question mark. Oh, we're going to look at his backstory today type stuff. Tiny goals.
Do you have anywhere, or have you had the opportunity to like just sit down and like talk about your process, or like is this something that is available for people? Because I feel like you get a ton of insight, and I feel like if the answer to this is no, I want to solve that problem. I'm gonna be like, let's interview TK and you can tell us all about this because it's interesting.
I was interviewed on Dragon Talk last week. We talked a little bit about DMing, and then yesterday I was interviewed with Drunks and Dragons. Is it? Drunks and Dragons, is that correct? Oh no, I'm sorry. Geekly Inc. We talked with them last night, and they asked me a lot of DM stuff. But part of like my reluctance to give any DM advice is that this is my first show that I'm DMing, and I've been DMing for a year, so this is like my first like public DMing thing. So it's like, I don't know if it works yet.
Get out of here. No.
Let's experiment.
You don't need tenure to give people advice. You're doing a thing.
Yeah, this is my first show that I've DM'd, so I'm just sitting here being like, you asked me like, how do you like to do finales? I'm like, we're gonna find out Friday, aren't we?
No. Well, so there you go. So find out Friday. I'm gonna check it out. That's awesome.
Oh, thanks. You should.
Good luck. Fun. Good luck with your finale.
Yeah, thanks.
Katie, how's Jace Beleren doing? Does it just fall apart?
Jace Beleren's great. No, how dare you?
Well, you said you had all these extra parts, and that Jace might not be holding together.
My carpentry skills are phenomenal.
I'm very proud of you.
And yeah, Jace Beleren is great. We've reached a relationship. They actually, Jace Beleren actually has rollerblade wheels as the wheel.
What, really?
There's like there's like this brand of like office chair wheels that are like rollerblades. And they're really great, and that's as interesting as I get.
I can't imagine an office chair with rollerblade wheels. That's it. My mind is blown.
For these hardwood floors, baby.
All terrain.
I got some all-terrain wheels.
Yeah,
I hate this.
good. Cool. Well, we can move on if you want.
Great.
All right.
No, the chair update is good. I'm really scared though, because last time I broke my desk chair because I was flirting. I was playing Dungeons and Dragons and I was flirting, and I leaned back as for effect in the flirting, and I leaned back too far, and that's how I broke my chair.
Yes.
So if it's going to happen, it's probably going to be during Dungeons and Dragons.
Well, thankfully, in this case, Rhodes seems to me to be the kind of person who, if you flirted with her, she would either punch you in the throat or run away. So, or maybe both, one and then the other.
Yep.
Less,
so I'm safe.
Less of a worry, I think, in this case. So that's good.
At least for now.
For now, that's true. Danica is still out there somewhere.
I've got dreams.
How's Chicago, Masood? How you doing?
Things are great, man. I don't know what to tell you. Update wise, my buddy's opening a new restaurant. And,
what kind of restaurant is it?
It's really exciting. There's a lot of North Indian food and like Pakistani food in Chicago. There's not a lot of like South Indian food, like food from Carlo, where his family's from. And he's like working with a chef that he like met through Instagram that like did some pop-ups with that style of cooking, and they're like opening up a new shop. So he did like a little private dinner at his place this weekend for like me, my partner, and some of our friends, where he just like made some of the dishes he's going to be making for the restaurant. Very good.
I only kind of heard what you were saying because now I'm looking at pictures of dosas and I'm like,
yeah,
damn, I want some of these right now.
Tom's Toddy Shop is his Instagram, which is very THOMTHODDYSHOP. I'm gonna type it in the Twitch.
Okay, wait, we should all go.
Oh yeah, when it opens.
Yeah, where is it?
It's gonna be in the West Loop.
West Loop? Oh my gosh, wait, we all have to go.
Yeah, I'm down.
I'll just jump on a plane and fly out. No problem.
Live session with one camera. It'll be perfect at the restaurant.
Well, I know 2 very specific people are invited, and 2 very specific people are going to hang out in our not Chicago places.
You know,
I'm not telling you to not come.
There is
some pictures.
There is something very like post-credit scene from the Avengers about that, about like Jace Beleren must die, but first we got to eat these doses.
Oh my gosh, I'm so hungry.
Yeah. I know what I'm doing for lunch today. That's awesome. Good vibe. So they're opening this, and this is like a permanent restaurant, or is it just a
they had been doing so his partner Margaret was doing these pop-up shops at this restaurant in Chicago called like Kimsky, and then got an offer to do, and that's like more like Korean food, but her husband's also from southern India and had been learning a lot of like Kerala style food, so they were like came together to like do this pop-up to like test some stuff out, and now we're gonna like got an offer to open up in a permanent location.
Rad.
So it's gonna be dope.
That's awesome.
I'm trying to finagle him to get me a job there, so we'll see if that comes out. But now I've got all of you on Twitch to make sure to pressure him.
Good. Now we know. Now we have a use for your Twitter. Now we know.
Exactly.
We can use it.
Yeah. All my Twitter followers can go and tweet at him.
That's right. Go tweet at this dude. Hire him. Yeah.
My friend, not even a random guy, my person in my life.
Yeah. Like a personal friend, not even a random guy. Just like, just hassle my friend about this. Good. That's good use of your power. I like it.
I like my clout.
Yeah. Cool. I'm gonna close this tab, and I'm not gonna look at this delicious food anymore because we gotta play some D&D.
I wonder what food's at the cop ball.
Yeah, exactly. So the next 3 hours we're gonna be talking about the food of Ravnica. I hope I'm
Here's my
ready.
PowerPoint.
Yeah, I'm gonna George R. Martin you so hard right now.
Oh, I'm ready. I'm ready for at least one of the items to be horribly poisoned.
I feel like as a game master, I'm pretty good at food. I do a lot of good food description, but also like weird gross stuff. So it's like both ends of the spectrum. Like here's a horrible
That's so
gross
good
thing,
stuff.
but also let's talk about this roast turkey.
Yeah, most of it is like getting it down to smells. If you can describe smells, you can activate that gag reflex real fast.
I feel like a lot of GMs miss describing like the smell of a thing or a place. It's important. It's a very
Immerse me.
Yeah. Yeah.
When I on my DM screen, I have like the list of the 5 senses, and I wrote pick 2.
No.
And so whenever it's just my little reminder that I keep like on my screen going into scenes.
Here's a quick question for the group. If you're playing a role-playing game and the GM tells you a thing your character feels, how do you feel about that? Like if they're like, you see this thing and you feel like fear grip your heart. Are you like, no way, I get to decide what my character's afraid of? Or are you like, yeah, we can't control our emotions. We can only control how we respond to them.
I feel like
yeah, right.
I feel like as you get like further into the process, like there becomes like a DM and player like mutual understanding of the character in which you can sort of both express on the character. But I also let my players express on the world. So it's genuinely like I don't know, it's collaborative storytelling. Let's do the collaborative storytelling thing.
I found that I'm more likely to I have done the feeling thing and tried to inspire that in my players in the home game. And my husband was like, I do what I want. And so that very quickly broke me of it. But if it's a magical effect, then like if I'm going to say that it's like you feel gripped in this fear caused by this magical effect, then they're more amenable to it, I guess, if that makes sense. So you could be like, as long as you're like, by the way, this is a magical thing, because now they also feel like they can be proactive in trying to solve it too.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah.
Carlos, you made a face.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess if it's the type of feeling that like a physical feeling, yeah, like it hurts. Like I totally get that. Emotional though, I guess I side with Katie on that. Just like you have to have trust in the DM, or just know that like, oh, this is what we're doing. We're all collaborating on what each other's doing. I would actually like it more as a suggestion. Just like
in the times I've done it, I've phrased it as a question. Like, I think this might make your character feel sad. What do you think? Like, does that am I right? Am I getting that correct? Yeah,
that's how I would like it. Yeah,
totally.
I would definitely like it a little bit more like that. Not in a I don't trust you way. Just like I just think it can be very railroading. It can be used to railroad. So I try not to walk down a path of just like, yeah, that's fine, and then like, you know.
Totally,
that's bad advice to give everyone, right? Like,
right.
Like, yeah, whoever you play with, let them do that for you.
I do like the suggestion chat just did, which is, what about this situation is most terrifying for you? And I've used something similar to that, where it's like somebody's gone into an area and I'm like, how can you tell that this area is like dilapidated and falling into ill repair and stuff? And I like that really too. Good. Like, not only do they get to talk about, like, yes, maybe they are afraid and you prompted it, but then they also get to paint out the scene, and that's cool too.
Yeah, that's really smart.
Yeah, just a thought. It just had occurred to me because I was thinking about this the other day, and it's one of those things like what things everybody has authority over or responsibility for. I think it's an interesting topic to bring up. Cool. So I wanted to ask. Cool. All right. Well, so as a quick reminder before we jump back into the thing, we're using an alternate form of experience points based on what happens in the game, and at the end of the session, we're going to answer some questions together, and for each question that we answer, everybody will get a point of experience for each one that we say yes to. So we're looking to learn things about Jace, his conspirators or servants. We're looking to see the characters express aspects of their class, race, or background. We want to see their connection to their guild being meaningful in some way in the game. And then we want to see their alignment complicate their life. So doing things that maybe is not in their best interest, but follows their own moral or ethical compass. And that is what you will get rewarded for when we get to the end of today's episode. So when we begin, and I think we should pick up with Torgor and Winnegar going to a how did you describe it, Katie? A second location.
Yep, the boys are going to a second location.
they've gotten in Wenzel's cool van, and they've gone to look at the puppies that he has in the basement.
I have some cool equipment if you want to come check it out.
Yeah, cool science stuff. You like science stuff, right? It's got.
He like slowly unbuttons his lab coat.
Yeah, but it's an it lab coat, so it takes 45 minutes, and there's a combination lock on it. For some reason.
Like 16 zippers.
Yeah. So under the auspices, Wenzel thinks, and this is what made this whole situation such a comedy of errors. Wenzel thinks that Winnegar and Torgor are members of the Azorius Senate who have some kind of clout that he can use to get approval or funding for a project, some kind of electromancy project that he's working on. He is a socially uncomfortable member, which is not unusual. So much to the point that to avoid being touched by strangers, he is wearing a bodysuit that gives off an electrical discharge if someone tries to grab him, as Torgor found out.
Relatable.
Yeah, relatable, right? He's trying to market those to the introverts of Ravnica. And under that assumption, under the assumption that Winnegar and Torgor would be able to help Wenzel with this project, and he wouldn't have to deal with his brother, who he was originally coming here to talk to, he saw an out and invited Winnegar and Torgor back to his lab to take a look to see if they could give him a hand. So we fade in on a fairly traditionally Izzet League living space / workshop. Somewhere in here, there is probably a cot, but it is covered in miscellaneous parts. There are disassembled Jacob's ladders kind of leaned against the wall. There's a boiler that isn't operating with a bunch of tubes and pipes leading to it. There's a thin kind of corridor through these piles of equipment to an actual workspace with a bench and one of those clamped on like magnifying glass kind of apparatuses. And on the desk, there are various batteries and copper wires and tools kind of scattered out on the surface. And as we fade in, Torgor and Winnegar have kind of a moment of semi like privacy, if you were to talk quietly to each other, because Wenzel basically was like, "Hang on a second," and wandered out into the maze of piles of stuff that cram this 600 square foot apartment workshop. So the two of you are standing kind of in the door. Yeah, of course.
Can Torgor immediately tell he's too big for this place?
Yeah, I mean, if it wasn't full of stuff, then you'd probably be able to move around. But yeah, like you're about as far in as you can go without having to squeeze and risk knocking things over. Yeah.
In my head, I'm imagining the pathways are like perfectly Wenzel sized.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Torgor
doesn't like this place, Winnegar.
Yeah, no, it doesn't matter. You don't have to like the place. This is the guy. Well, this is like the other guy.
No. Torgor knows other guy can get us to actual guy that we need. But yeah, Torgor doesn't like this place. Torgor feels weird now. Now Tack and Melon Baller aren't here to back us up if things go south.
Yeah, but things aren't gonna go south. Look at this guy. He's a wiener.
Somewhere in this shot, there's a mirror reflecting Winnegar's face. Like there just is. There just has to be.
Oh no, not this guy. This is the guy that we're with.
Look at this guy. He's a wiener. Background of the shot. Picture of Winnegar. Yeah.
Well, Torgor just glad. Yeah.
This is okay. If we want to get the big fish, we got to use the little fish. You know what I mean?
No, Torgor's been fishing. Torgor knows how it works.
Torgor punch fish.
I was say, imagine Torgor. Yeah, Torgor holding Torgor's like, I'll get the harpoon. Okay.
Torgor fishes bigger game. No, but Torgor's only issue is where Torgor go. Okay.
Wait, what do you mean? Where do you go?
Where Torgor stand outside while you and new best friend have a good time.
Torgor, wait, hold on. This isn't about the size of the room, is it? Is it? Are you talking about the size of the room in my heart? Because we're friends.
Torgor sees your metaphor was right through me.
Torgor, listen, this guy's the mark, okay? He's not gonna be my new best friend.
Torgor knows. Torgor knows.
Do you know though?
Now.
It's not your fault.
Okay.
No, Torgor, it's not your fault.
Okay.
Torgor, it's not your fault. He's having like a Goodwill Hunting moment.
Yeah, I'm just trying to like dig in. Yeah, and I think somewhere in the back of the workshop, you hear a brief electrical discharge, a yelp of surprise, and then after a second, you hear Wenzel speaking either to himself or to you. It's hard to tell. You get the impression he's used to muttering to himself, and he says, he's like, "Oh, good, there, it's discharged. It should be safe for you to come back here now."
Okay, we'll be there in a second. Torgor, did you want to hang out here or do you want to come back there?
Torgor will follow you.
Okay, cool. Coming. Do I talk like that all the time? I feel like I'm nervous right now.
Torgor,
My voice higher.
Yeah. Whittaker sounds real weird right now.
We'll be there in a second.
Okay, still doing it. It's still happening.
Am I still doing it? I don't know why.
Relax, man.
What do I do with my hands? Where do they go? Am I always walking like this?
Unzip one of your zippers. Just
Oh man! So I like how when Winnegar gets nervous, he does a Winnegar impression. Like you just become a caricature of yourself.
Yeah. So we walk into the other room.
Okay, so Torgor, despite knowing that you might knock things over or hook something on a horn.
I think I'm gonna try and crouch real low.
Okay.
And use if I'm not gonna say what I use because I might not need to check it.
I'm definitely gonna make you roll something.
Okay, I'll definitely probably use my athletics to make sure that I am gingerly stepping through this space. And
so athletics is really more a measure of like strength. So like lifting and pushing, the things that you're good at. So this is about delicacy. This would be if you want to try to use acrobatics, that works.
I'll
or you
try
can just
acrobatics to navigate through this place.
All right. Yeah, I think there's probably a moment of nudging something accidentally off of a pile of other somethings, but you catch it, before it hits the ground and you put it back up and so you're okay. So yeah, it takes you a little while to get through there, but you're moving gingerly and you're delicate, so you're okay. Winnegar, you can move obviously much more quickly because the Wenzel shaped space is about the same as a Winnegar shape. So you're a little taller than him. But yeah, you get into the back and laying on Wenzel's desk, there's some kind of apparatus. You can see that there is a slot in it where a Mizium battery would be inserted. It looks like it's meant to be like worn, maybe on the arm, or it might be a helmet. It's really hard to say at a glance.
Whoa!
But Wenzel looks very proud of it. He's doing that kind of like ta-da, like.
Wenzel, this wow! I tell you what, this is impressive. I've never seen one of What do you call these?
And he does that like nerd sigh, or he's like, do I have to explain to you how the United Federation of Planets works again?
Oh my God.
So he kind of like sighs and rolls his eyes, and he says, "It's an electroapparator. It moves energy from one place to another through the air safely. Safely now. The first test, I accidentally electrocuted a Loxodon, but now I can move energy from a Mizium battery over here." And he picks it up, and he starts putting it on his arm. It is an arm-mounted device of some kind. And he points it at you,
No, don't point it at me.
Yeah, and you do you move or any?
Yeah.
Okay, so you move out of the way. Behind you, as the camera refocuses behind you, there's an antenna of some kind hooked up to a generator. And he says, and if I point it over there, and he like wiggles some dials, and he hits a button, and it starts to hum and like vibrate. And then there's a pulse. You can all feel it in your fillings, right? It's just like in the back of your throat, just this, and the generator coughs, sputters, runs for about a half second, and then dies down. And Wenzel looks at you smiling like, see? Like he's just proven something significant.
Wait, see what? Wait, what are you talking about? What happened?
And he says, well, I moved energy from the battery over to the engine. That's why it ran. Look, it's not attached to anything. And he holds up a big, chunky rubber cord with a prong on the end, which you recognize would be like a power cable, but it's not plugged into anything. And he just waves it around in the air like, see?
Oh, wow. That's actually really impressive. What,
Wait, but Torgor see Winnegar shoot electricity through his fingers without apparatus. How is that any different?
Well, I mean, and my eyes get
Yeah,
really big.
right. Both the Is It League Wenzel and the fake Azorius Winnegar look at you, Torgor, like, wait, what?
Oh yeah, I have these gloves that I made. I mean, it was nothing like that, but you know, they had sparks. That's probably what he's talking about. Can I roll deception on that?
Yeah, to just try to smooth over Torgor's. Yeah, okay, yeah.
Let's see, right there.
Okay, so how insightful is Wenzel? Insight's based on wisdom. I think he's mostly intelligence. I'm just gonna give him a flat 20. Okay, so you got a 14. It is a tie. The tie goes to the person who's like defending, which in this case you were trying to defend yourself from being found out. So I think he looks at you and you're like, I made these gloves. And he says, oh, well, always good to know you're a fellow inventor. He gives you that stare like, and you've seen this look on the face of so many Is It League scientists that like, you better not be competition or I will cut you. I will cut you so bad.
Yeah, but I couldn't cut the mustard as an inventor. That's why, you know, I looked into the Senate and now I'm here. I'm just a paper pusher.
And yeah, and he's nodding, and as you kind of guide him in that direction, you can see him come around and be like, oh, well, maybe this is just the guy I need. Like maybe he understands like science more than the average. And so he says, he's like, it's such a relief. You don't understand. I've been trying to get my brother to come here and look at my invention for months, but he doesn't appreciate science. You know, he doesn't see the value of a device like this. He's just worried about the law and making sure that everything is legal and not going to kill anyone, which it won't. I haven't killed anyone. I haven't killed anyone by accident, and well, I was exonerated, and I have the paperwork. Anyway, listen.
That board back there says 10 days, Wenzel. I'm not here to judge, but that board on the back says 10 days.
Yeah, and he says he points at it and he says, don't worry about that. They signed a waiver. It's fine.
Oh, okay. I mean, why did you put the law in quotes too? Wenzel.
Yeah, and he just kind of just shakes his head and he says that we're not here to talk about that. I need to get approval for this device before I can get funding from the guild. And without funding, this is where it ends. Museum's not cheap, you know. So I was hoping, and he kind of glances over, and on his desk there is some paperwork. And he, you get a glance at it, but it's just a pile of paper. And he says, I just need the stamp of approval, and then I can take it to the court, and then I can go back to the league, and I can get my funding. And like, again, you know that funding is a magic word, right? Like if you can get funding, you can do anything. That's the only thing that limits science. Everybody in the league has imagination, but funding, that's what you really need.
Oh, man.
Wenzel, what type of applications were you thinking of using this device on?
Well, again, that kind of like, oh my God, Worf is only he's a Klingon, but his son Alexander is only half a Klingon. Come on. So he sighs and he says, well, right now, if we want to get electro energy from here over here, we need big rubber tubes. And he points at the cable and he says, the little electros travel down the tube. And when they get to the bulb gets happy and lights up. You understand? But these tubes, they're vulnerable. Sometimes they get damaged. People vandalize them. Gruul beasts chew on them. There's all kinds of reasons. Sometimes they get stolen and stripped for parts. Now, if we take the tube away, then we can magically transport the electros from here over here, just like that.
How far of a distance can your machine work, though? Does it have to be this close?
Yeah, and he's like, well, right now, about a couple of feet.
A couple of feet?
And he nods. He says, I've gotten up to 4. That's why I need funding. We need bigger dishes and more Mizium. Always more Mizium. I need to buy at least another dozen batteries.
Oh,
But listen, you don't need to worry about any of that. The League has money. So much money. I just need to convince them to give it to me. And that's very hard to do without a writ of legality. And he points again at the paper. I just need the stamp.
what did your brother say about this? You haven't told him.
And he scowls. And he says, my brother. He laughed at me. Said that I was a fool. That it would never work. That I would bring shame to our family. I'll show him. I'll show all of them. So how about that stamp, huh?
Well, you just kind of trailed off in your own little like bloodlust weird thing going on there.
Yeah, Tor, maybe we should take the paperwork and look over it back at the Senate and come back. You know.
And he puts his hand on it, like, and looks at you. And he's like, no, no, just getting this paperwork took me months. The Senate, there's red tape everywhere, and it's only just gotten worse in the last few weeks. Trying to get anything approved is nearly impossible. It's no wonder that members of the League have bypassed the process. I've considered it myself, but I don't have the money,
how
and I would never.
How would they bypass the process?
Some of my companions in the League, well, they don't have the scruples that I do. I'm full of scruples, very scrupulous.
Well, I can tell you're very scruply.
He nods like, thank you. I think so. And he says, but it's not the case for everyone. Some people, they just go ahead with their experiments, regardless of their legality. I hear it's much worse in the Simic Combine.
Oh, well, that's probably 100% true.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone nods meaningfully at each other.
Can I roll an insight? I want to see how truthful he's being.
Yeah,
Or what
definitely.
what I can gauge from him.
Mhm. Oh yeah, 21. Nice. Yeah, and I mean, you have a special insight, right? Like you have fictional positioning as a member of this self-same organization. Everything that he is saying is true, right? Like getting funding is very important. Working with the Senate on the legality of an invention is important if you want to, get it out in the world to the rest of Ravnica. If you're making a kill ray, you probably don't want to tell the Senate about it. But on top of that, there's at least a little bit of vengeful mad scientist in here. He seems to be on the edge. If things go one way for him, he could be a fairly like this might work if he gets funding, and it might be good. But if he is denied, he is only a step away from like vengeful mad scientist territory. This guy's walking on the edge of a knife.
So I want to go to him. I want to be flipping through the paperwork,
Mhm.
and
I'm gonna say, Wenzel, everything looks fantastic in this paperwork. This is my biggest concern. If your brother didn't give you the okay, that's an uphill battle for me. Okay. Can you tell me a little bit about him? So in case someone puts me into question, I have something to come back on him with.
And he turns and he's got like one eye is like kind of bulgy and the other eye is like squinty. And he looks at you and he says, he's like, my brother, bah, glorious Zlatek of the Azorius Senate. Ugh. My parents always treated him like he was something special just because he was born first, just because he went to law school. I never understood why they thought he was so special. He's an arrogant prick, a bastard. He uses his power to lord it over people. I don't understand why Liana went for him and not me. I'll never understand. And he like scowls at the floor.
Can I? I want to do an intimidation roll on him.
Okay, sure.
Okay. Should I roll first, or should I say what I want to say?
You tell me. You tell me what you want to say, and then we'll make
Okay.
the roll to see how it affects him.
Torgor can see you and your brother have a difficult relationship. You know, Torgor knows he's very well respected in this. Then, you know, Winnegar and I have to work with him all the time, and well, not as much as we would like. You know, if you could facilitate a meeting between us, well, I'm sure Torgor and Winnegar and I could get this paperwork taken care of, lickety split. But no meeting.
Oh man, I love.
Man, looks like this paperwork might not go anywhere at all for 15, 20. Maybe even your brother hears that you try to underhandedly get other people in the Senate to go on board with you. Torgor doesn't know how he would think of it. I don't think well.
I love blackmail Torgor. It's so good. Like, I'm like, oh, you're gonna intimidate him. So like, what? You're gonna like threaten and like knock some stuff around or beat him up. You're like, how about some intense political intimidation?
I see where his pain is.
We're over here playing Dungeons and Dragons, and Torgor is season 5 of The Wire. Okay, good. You're like, what if I was Mayor Torgor? How about that? Shit. All right, yeah, let's do it. Let's have you let's see your roll. So you got a 13.
I got a 13.
All right, I'll make a wisdom save for this dude. And again, we've established not very wise.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, he crumbles. He crumbles.
Nice.
He crumbles like a house of cards. So yeah, you can see him he starts to sweat a little bit, and he's forgotten all about the whatever he was talking about with his brother before, and now it's about dealing with this like the Azorius machine.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, "Oh, I see how it is. So if I help you get closer to my brother for your career, then you'll approve my paperwork. And if I don't, then what? It's going to be very hard for you to blacklist me more than he already has."
Oh, we wouldn't blacklist you. We would just tell your brother to blacklist you more.
Yeah, and he scowls, but you know you got him. You can feel it, right? And he says, fine.
Wenzel, this is a win-win for both of us.
Mm-hmm.
We get to move up in our political career, and you get your machine approved. We just need to know the dirt. You're close to him. What's the dirt?
So it's like he's torn, right? And you can feel this because you get that insight check, the 21. So you can feel it. He's torn because on the one hand, he's like afraid of the power his brother wields, right? And he doesn't want to talk shit because in case that gets back to him, it's going to make things worse.
Mm-hmm.
But also he wants to get what he wants, and he thinks you're going to help him. And I think if you have the insight in this case, I think if you can make it personal, if you can be like, we're gonna this is not going to go well for Zlatek. Like, we're going to get him. This is going to be bad for him because he doesn't care if it's good for you. He cares about it being good for him. But if you can throw on the icing of like, we're trying to do something bad to your brother, that'll help him.
Listen, Wenzel, moving up the ladder is hard, you know, especially when someone's in the way. And if I can move that person out of the way, well, then I can move up the ladder too. And let's say if that person were to fall off the ladder, maybe they would lose, I don't know, someone they care about, maybe someone named Leanna, maybe.
Mhm.
And maybe then that person's free to date other possible people.
So-
Maybe someone who's there for them in their time of grief.
But not in a creepy way.
No,
Not
no,
in a
no,
I was
weird
gonna
way.
say,
Not in a weird
you're-
way. Just in like,
Yeah.
you know, Florence
Give it time.
Nightingale kind of way.
Oh, so I see. So really, his name is not Wenzel. It's Wincel, I think is what's happening here. Be careful. You are creating your own horrific supervillain here. So just be gentle with this situation. Also, I really like that. I like that Torgor was like, all right, we're going to play it subtle. And Winnegar is like, what if we get rid of your brother and then you can date his wife? So he nods and as you're speaking, he's like, okay, yeah, like this seems, maybe this could work. And he says, so all I have to do is what, make sure that he meets you somewhere. Do you want me to tell him who you are so he knows, or is this should I lie to him? Well, I'm not very good at this sort of thing. He's definitely looking at Torgor for help on this. Like, how do I?
Oh, good.
Torgor says you tell him you need to meet one more time about something you know will get him there. Let's say, you know what? I'll let you decide.
Yeah, and he's like, well, you know, mother has been ill of late. Perhaps I could fool him into thinking something's happened to her, and then when he comes to meet me. Then bam, he runs into the ambush, which is you two, and then you do whatever it is you're gonna do to him, and I get my approval, and then I can get funding, and then I can show that weasel Addison who's boss. Hey.
Side note, we're not killing this guy, right? We're
just
supposed to
an
follow him,
aside,
get him-
can we just put a pin in this? This isn't a murder situation, is it? I feel like for many members of the party, that has been a point of confusion.
Right.
yeah, we're just supposed to get information on this guy.
Yes,
Right.
you're supposed to confirm his relationship to the peacock.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to get information
Right.
on him. Not trying to kill this guy.
Right.
I mean,
Um,
if ideally maybe take him to a second location and just ask him a lot of questions.
Kidnapping is certainly an option. But
Yeah, I'm just trying to get some information from his brother, and then so we can make following him a little bit easier. I'm actually not trying to meet him. I just want Wenzel to, give me the info. Maybe we can blackmail him, and maybe we can set it up so there is some, disruptiveness in his life, as personal life. Because
right now, all you know is that Zlatek Ironclad's name was on a list of people that are connected to the Peacock that you stole from the Boros. So you don't really know his like direct connection. Yet.
Gotcha. So I just want to go to Wenzel and be like, Wenzel, I don't know if we can meet with your brother, just because we've heard rumors that he's well connected outside of the Senate.
And and he nods and he says, my brother was always very good at making friends. And you just see like an awful high school memory flash over his face. He stares into the distance.
They're just screaming, pretzel, pretzel. And some bullies like tying him in knots. Pretzel.
Yeah, you got it. that now is true.
Incredible insight.
Yeah. You rolled a 21.
Do you know about your brother's dealings outside the Senate? That might be a way for us to get him kicked out.
Mm-hmm.
And
Torgor's like actively.
Torgor's like a beauty shop woman.
He's like, this is not what Torgor expected walking into this place, but this is going decidedly well.
Winnegar, make a persuade check. Let's see if you can persuade him, because this is outside of the original kind of premise of the conversation. You're pushing him a little bit, which is okay.
Mhm.
Let's see.
So we'll see how that goes, and then we'll see how he responds. Whew. All right, you got 12. All right, not bad. Okay, so you got a 9, you have +3, so 12. Okay, so I think, yeah, so if you push a little more specifically, if you're not just like, tell me something, like you can see him faltering a little bit. If you ask him something specific, that might be enough to push him towards giving you some info.
So one of the best ways to get rid of someone in the Senate is if they actually break their oaths, okay? And if they have some shady dealings, I mean, whoa, we can fast track this baby real quick.
And he shakes his head.
It'll be almost like he gets kicked off of the plane.
You know what I mean?
And
all of a sudden you're walking.
Why?
Wenzel shakes his head and he says, I don't know about shady dealings. I mean, Zlatek, perfect Zlatek. He would never do anything like that. That's why Mama and Papa always loved him better than me. Because he always followed the rules. I've never been held back by things like rules. I do what I want. That's why I love science so much. There's no rules at all. You can just make anything true. But Zlatek, he loves the law. He loves it more than he loves his own family. He would never make a deal with anyone unsavory. And he, like, you can see him just be like, I wish I had something to tell you so you could like mess with him.
Okay. Where does Zlatek reside?
He says, well, he lives in Plaza East. He has a mansion there. It's enormous. We were supposed to all go there for Boomsday, and then he canceled it.
Oh. He canceled it?
And he nods, and he says, yeah, Leanna didn't think all those explosives were good for the children.
Oh, he has kids?
And he nods, and he says, yes. Yeah, the twins. They're really lovely children. They take after their mother.
Fucking Snape.
I was about to say I'm accidentally making this guy Snape. Like, just by accident. Yeah, one of like. So wait, in that, so that makes the four of you Voldemort then.
I'm in.
Okay, just checking. Okay, good.
I feel like Winnegar's more of a squirrel person.
I'm Percy. I'm Percy Jackson.
That's a different series.
Yeah, thanks, you.
It really is. I thought you were gonna say Percy Weasley, and I was like, "Whoa, okay."
It's a reach.
No.
Actually, that would have
fit.
that would have made a pretty good April Fool's goof if we had just done an episode and set it in the universe of Yu-Gi-Oh. That would have been. We should next year.
Next year,
So,
for sure.
Yeah, so you can see obviously there's some like deep-seated emotional trauma going on here for this guy. But yeah, he says that Zlatek lives in a mansion in Plaza East, which is like quite close. Your the hotel that you're staying at is at the edge of that plaza.
Okay, he lives in a mansion in Plaza East. His wife, twins.
What's the likelihood of him knowing the best way in and out of his brother's
Do you
place?
know if he has any weak spots or vulnerabilities? How many hit points does your brother have? Just in case we were to, get in a fight with him. What's his initiative?
Torgor wants to ask when you want to talk to Leanne without your brother knowing, how do you go see her?
says, Leanna and I haven't spoken. Not directly. Not since the children were born.
That's the children.
Are the children really nerdy?
he looks at them and he's like, well, they're just babies. I haven't had the time to run the proper tests. Leanna says I'm not allowed to test the children. I don't understand. They're completely harmless tests. Children are very resilient.
Okay, Wenzel.
So, and he looks at the paperwork. If I arrange a meeting between you and my brother, then you'll make sure I get my seal of approval, and I can get my funding, and then my electro apparator can become famous, and I can make all kinds of money, and I can move out of this place.
Well, I think we're going to have to sidestep your brother on this one. We're still looking for the dirt to get around him in order to get this thing passed.
But Winnegar,
Yes,
maybe,
Corridor?
maybe we could ask him ourselves.
Ask who ourselves?
His brother.
I mean, we could, but he seems like he's really busy.
Well, what is his address? Give us Mansion's address at the very least.
Yeah, I think he's willing to do that. He's like, sure, hold on. And
we can send a scroll there, and when his back turns, I like elbow Winnegar and wink really hard.
And he takes a piece of paper and he writes down on it. He writes the address. And he folds it up and he turns around and he hands it to you.
Okay, Wenzel, give me 1 week.
How am I going to contact you?
Oh, I know where you are. I'm coming to you. Are you kidding? This is a huge moneymaker. I want to be ground floor on this baby.
He smiles. And it's maybe the first time you've seen him smile, like not nervously. And he like pats his device and he nods. And he says, pretty soon I'll be able to send electro energy from here to anywhere in Ravnica. The blink of an eye. I'll be able to turn on a light bulb anywhere in the city, just like that. And he snaps, and there's a pulse of energy, and he blows a chunk out of the ceiling. And he like ducks. He's like, hey, completely safely. Once I run a few more tests, I just need funding. Sorry. And he like brushes, chunks of ceiling off of your shoulders. Oh, God, sorry.
Wenzel, why do I feel like all your inventions are going to be weaponized very quickly?
Torgar's like, could you send energy up a mall? So when you swung a mall, would energy come out of it? Would like a hammer of gravity of some kind?
And he goes to like scratch his chin, realizes he's just like fired the device, and like instead puts his hand on the table. And he looks at you and he says, well, theoretically, it's certainly possible. Improving kinetic energy isn't really my thing. I'm really more about electricity. Now, if you wanted that hammer to throw bolts of electricity, well, that would be possible, but I can't see how that would improve the hammer, unless you were using it to kill people.
He just stares at him like that.
What? You guys don't appreciate a good hammer throw in the backyard every once in a while with some targets set up? It's only for pleasure, a sport, a hammer for sport.
I only bought it for hunting. So in case you see a deer made out of Kevlar.
Right.
So he nods and he says, right, recreational use.
Mm-hmm.
Of course. I mean, I'm certain it's possible. I can look into it for you if you like. All right. So the two of you, it seems that the interrogation awkwardness has run its course. Is it time to exit? Okay. All right. So he thinks to himself as you leave, Wenzel. We can see that he looks at his electro apparating gauntlet and he nods and he's like, soon. Soon they'll all see. We'll show them, and he like pets it as you leave.
Oh my god.
So meanwhile, while the two of you are doing that, Tack and Road, let's get caught up with you. So Road, you stayed in line with your sister. Is that the thing when some of the cops ran off, or where did you end up?
I think she left line. She was very snobby about it.
Yeah. Because she was like, I'm a real cop and I don't care about this.
Like,
yeah. So did you hold her place in line, or did you follow her?
I think I followed her. Definitely.
Okay. All right. Okay. So I guess then it's pretty quick to get you and Tack back together, because Tack, the last time we saw you, you were trying to steal a ticket, and then you're like, oh, I can't do it, but like, oh, look at this guy, he's been horribly hurt. What happened?
Oh no, my best friend.
Yeah.
Gerald.
me Berenfnart. Yeah, this guy, I love him. Good guy. We call
this
him
guy.
Todd.
And then Tack like sneaked through the crowd and is at the mouth of the alleyway now. So
yeah, okay. So Road, you see your sister. And I'm curious. I want to know how you feel about this. So Road, you see when your sister approaches, the like law mages and the arresters that ran over here, the sort of beat cops, they see her and they defer to your sister. And actually, can you make an insight check?
Yes, I can. The thing I'm very good at sometimes.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. So you can't tell why they're being deferential. Like you can't pick up on the subtleties of whether it's because they respect her as a person or whether it's the uniform and her rank. She definitely outranks them. But they immediately are like, they defer the entire investigation to her. They're just like, ma'am. And she kind of gives them like, she turns into like a business sister. And have you ever seen your sister work before? Like,
I think that there were like a period of a year where we like worked and trained together before.
Oh, that's right. You both went to police academy before you dropped out.
Yeah, we went to police academy.
Yeah. Oh, now I'm just imagining the two of you, like a montage of the two of you in like a gray sweatsuit, like climbing a rope and like run, and you're just all out of breath. And oh man.
Yeah, I think that I was always able to kick her ass, but she was always smarter than me.
Nice.
So there was.
So what did we? Why did you drop out? Like, did we ever talk about that? Like, why didn't you not become like a detective like your sister? Because you're obviously like physically way more capable than she is.
Yeah, I think there was just like an incident that happened in which Road found out just the plethora of red tape that exists, and she doesn't work very well under someone else's rules. And so she had like cousins and family in the Simic, and there was like an offer of like a life where she could pursue her fullest potential without being told what to do.
Right.
And she took the offer.
Yeah. So you had like a weird aunt who was like, listen, you don't have to do what your parents want. Come hang out with me. We'll smoke pot and listen to heavy metal, and you could become a fish lady. And you were like,
that's exactly what fucking happened.
Good. Cool. Nice. Okay. All right. So it is clear to you that she is like, even with the 7, she's thriving. Like she's businesslike, but there is a degree of personal satisfaction in this. And so she walks out and starts like examining the scene. And as soon as she does, one of those little ornithopters flies in beside her and is either observing her or the scene or both. And she looks at it and it makes a series of chiming sounds, which kind of like Luke and R2, she seems to understand, and she nods, and it's relaying some kind of information to her. Tack, you see Road and her sister approach.
Ooh, see, this is the problem, is that like Triska's cop, and she's not going to take too lightly to me hanging out covered in blood, so I'm just gonna...
Yeah,
you're a witness.
So do you want to try to?
I'm distraught. Okay.
Do you want to try to like be scarce?
I would love that.
Okay, make a stealth roll.
Just gonna, but like if I get caught, I want to be casual, just like slipping through people. Mostly.
Yeah, jam your hands in your pockets. Get that whistle ready.
Oh, 16, not my best roll, but
Okay.
I just rolled a 7, and I can't believe you're like, oh no, a 16. How bad of me.
Usually I do much better than this.
Yeah. Welcome to the Chaos Plateau. Okay, so let's see.
I just hope that she's not a good cop.
She's a great cop.
Apparently, she's a
Oh.
terrible cop. She rolled a 1. She does not see you at all. In fact, and this is a perfect little like microcosm. So she's an excellent cop. Her own instincts and skills would absolutely have caught you in a moment. Tack, they would have been like, "Come here, you." But she's distracted because she's talking to this observation thopter, which is reducing her ability to do her job.
That's fine.
And so she's paying attention to that, and you use that opportunity to
As Tack climbs into a trash can.
Yeah. Perfect. Like a hermit crab returning to
Don't
its ship.
mind me.
Are you inside a trash can?
Mhm.
I don't know. Am I?
Who knows? No one
Wait,
knows.
can I roll a perception?
Yes, you
I
can.
see?
Please.
Ooh.
Please don't.
Great, a 7 and an 8. Let's
Good.
go.
Good. Okay, fantastic.
Let's have fun.
You definitely don't see Tack anywhere.
Great.
So
I don't see anyone. I'm just like, did everyone leave?
It's like she gets a body. It's like I forgot why we were here.
So Triska turns to you, Road, and she reaches into her coat, her very fancy police officer coat, and she takes out a folded piece of paper. It's like a little envelope with the Azorius Senate like symbol etched on it, and she hands it to you. And she says,
Take it.
"There's no way they're going to cancel the ceremony for this, but I need to stay here. You might as well take my ticket. Go and mingle.
All right. Are you sure you don't want any help?
I have real work to do, Road."
Oh.
Okay. I'm breathless.
Just Road,
Is
would you like go to, should you start making death saves or
Yeah.
all right.
Another
There's a
episode, another
a sharp pain in my chest.
Yeah, ouch. Ro just kind of like nods for a second because that definitely fucking hurt for her too. So she's just like, all right, well then I'll go. And then she just turns around. She just turns around. I open it. Is there 1 or 2 tickets in there?
So you turn to go. We stay with her for a moment. Like you walk away opening the envelope, and we'll come back to you, but we stay with her for a second. The Thopter like beeps and buzzes at her, and she shakes her head and she looks at you, and the Thopter turns its blue eyeball on you. And she shakes her head and she says to it, she's like, "Oh, her? No, that's just my sister. She's nobody." And the little Thopter is just like boop, 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 and then like goes into the alley and starts scanning the corpse and stuff. So cut back to Road. So you and Tack, you heard that from the garbage can. You heard that whole exchange. We cut back to Road, and yeah, you open the envelope, and they're not, the invitations aren't for specific people. They're just like admit one in celebration of the achievements of Dovin Ban. The Azorius Senate presents an evening of like respectful, quiet celebration. It's a boring ass Senate party, so it's gonna be a lot of handshaking and like eating kind of like dry seafood. Like it's not, but yeah, there are two invitations in the envelope.
Great. I look around for Tack.
You don't see them anywhere.
Can I like use some insight to like figure out when's a good time to pop out of the trash can?
I think that with a stealth roll of 16, you can make your exit at an appropriate time. I think we can.
Perfect.
I'm not going to make you re-roll. Like it
Thank
applies
you.
to the scene. So
Okay.
yeah. So when Triska comes over and starts examining, she bends down and starts examining the corpse. And she's talking to the other officers and trying to like figure things out. You slip out of the trash and make your way back into the crowd. Now, the rest of the crowd that gathered here, anyone who is not a law mage or an arrestor or like an actual cop, has dissipated at this point. They're like, oh, we missed the fun part. There's not going to be any more murdering. So we might as well go linger around in the plaza and, you know, eat our Dovin Band shaped popsicles while we wait for the after party. And things are just starting to get started in the hall. Like the line is moving, people are coming inside. We can see light from the inside, and it's starting to get dark. So yeah, Tack, when you come out into the crowd, I imagine, Road, you're not trying, like, you're not running back, you're waiting. You're both looking for each other, so you find each
Yeah,
other.
I'm meandering toward the line while looking for them.
Before I left the trash can, can I have left my tearaway suit in there?
Oh, yeah, definitely. That's
I'm wearing my jumpsuit under it, so it's fine.
Yeah,
but-
that is the appropriate place for
Yeah,
that
that's just like-
costume. Yeah.
It's like, could I just like bloop?
Yeah. You shed your costume, and then I think even someone sees you, right? Like even like one of the Senate members sees you, but seeing a Golgari like cleanup person climb out of a trash can is pretty normal, right? So one of these law mages sees you and it's like, oh, it's just a swarm. Like we don't. Yeah, of course. Like of course you're in the trash. I don't know what you're doing in there. Probably eating it. It doesn't matter to me.
Yeah, you know, Golgari. Oh man, good apple cores this time of night.
Just eating this garbage, just saran wrap, just in my mouth. Whatever.
It's like,
Bye.
don't mind me, just a trash baby.
So yeah, you slip away back in your original costume, and yeah, you can find Road in the crowd relatively easily.
Yeah, if Tack finds Road, they're gonna like tap her like on the back of the shin and just
Sister troubles, eh?
Oh my god, I was looking for you. Where were you?
Oh, I was looking for you, but I was finding you because I'm better at that. Hey,
Okay.
Is this for
I've
me?
already-
this mine?
yeah, have it. There you go.
nice, thanks.
There you go. Great. Cool.
Just like shoves it into the like zipper area of the abdomen.
Mm-hmm.
Are you gonna go
This
into
This
there
doesn't have
dressed like that?
pockets though. Well, I could wear the other outfit, but there was like a lot of blood on it.
What?
Right. And I mean, when you say that, we cut to the alley and we see one of the arresters like holding your bloodstained clothes and being like, Inspector Triska, look. And like they look over and just your bloody clothing in the trash.
I don't know.
Did you murder someone?
No, because you explicitly told me not to murder anybody. But then somebody else got to murder them.
Are you lying?
So why is that fair?
Can I,
No, why
can
would
I roll? Can I roll inside?
Why would I lie about that? You know, whenever I murder somebody, I immediately take responsibility for it.
And a selfie.
So many selfies.
Yeah,
Obviously, I would tell you if I killed someone.
Yeah, it's funny because the game has rules for rolling to see if someone is lying, but it doesn't have any skill for trying to convince someone you're telling the truth when you are. Like it's just not. It's not. You're like it's the truth. Come on. Yeah. So I mean, I feel like if Tech is saying that they didn't kill someone, usually it's the inverse. They're bragging about having killed someone.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
I feel like you're probably pretty
That's
safe.
true.
Great detail.
Yeah, believing them in this case.
Now, like, did I kill them? No. Am I sorry they're dead? Also, no. Am I going to apologize it? No. I'm not going to apologize. Also, there was a person with blue eyes. Also, I'm hungry.
Okay, a person with blue eyes was murdered.
Murdered?
They were the murderer?
Yeah, and
Okay,
you
so
did
they-
remember you did see them do some kind of thing where they like pulled the like magic whatever out of their brain before they
Oh,
they
yeah,
killed.
yeah. They pulled like a blue loogie out of their brain. It was super gross.
A blue.
Yep.
Blue.
Road, can you
Didn't
make
stutter.
make an Arcana check?
Yeah.
Tack knows nothing about magic.
Yeah. Why is this happening? I need to
Okay.
reset my whole life.
Another 8. Another
What
8,
is
which is a
happening?
great roll. A good.
I'm
it's a
refreshing the
number.
page.
Like I'm slogging out, and logging back in. Yeah, you're there. Nope. You don't have any idea what in the heck that's about.
I don't know.
Okay.
Makes two of us.
All right. So you didn't murder anybody.
Nope, not this time. Not today.
So then
Wait,
how
what-
did you?
What time is it?
You can only benefit from one long rest every 24 hours, but you can kill as many people as you want.
It's like
Is it daylight savings time? Not today. TBD.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to get too deep into it, but I don't actually know about the situation vis-a-vis like sunrise and sunset, and like does the sun spin around in a circle? Like Ravnica is a flat plane, I think. It's not a
I have this
sphere.
PowerPoint that you might
Okay. I haven't killed anyone at this party.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm glad because the party hasn't even started yet. So do you want to just
kill someone before the party?
get in line? Get in line. Get in line.
Yeah.
Great. Let's go. All right.
Can I have a tiny cake?
Do I have a tiny cake?
Are there?
Do I look?
Well, if I'm in
There are no
line,
pockets on this.
There's going to be all sorts of non-threatening appetizers inside the Senate event. I'm loath to call it a party because it's not.
Tack doesn't get invited out in public often, so Tack has no way to know.
Mm-hmm.
I suspect whenever Tack's mom went to work events, Tack was not invited. So.
Yeah. I think Tack, like you're out in the plaza right now, so you see some kid walk by with like a Niv Mizzet balloon in one hand and like eating some cotton candy. There are vendors
parents?
all around.
Where are the parents?
Like near-ish. Let me roll a negligence check for the parents. Let me just see how negligent.
I want to see
they
how
are.
easy it would be to like swipe out and grab.
they're
a handful
not
of this kid's
very
cotton candy.
They're not very negligent, but also you're very stealthy. So if you wanted to,
I don't know if it's worth it.
yeah.
It's worth it.
Okay, all right. This child. All right. I was say the kid has a passive perception of like 8, so yeah, no problem.
I took candy from a baby.
Yeah. So what does that look like? They have, so it's cotton candy, so it's a wooden, like a thin wooden dowel that the candy has been wrapped, the candy floss has been wrapped around on the end. It looks like a big cloud, and it's like magic candy floss, so it's like sparkling and probably moves a little bit.
Nice. I imagine in the middle of this like conversation, the whispered conversation, Tack doesn't even look at the kid, just like like grabs for this.
Can I reflect? Oh no! Don't do this. The
Slap
cop
Tack's
square.
little garbage hand.
Yeah. Oh, it's just filthy goblin hand just grabs a chunk of the cool. Yeah, I mean all we get is the kid looking back and making that face like, oh, I thought I had more cotton candy than this. Oh well.
And also it smells like apple cores.
Yeah, it weirdly smells like blood and garbage. Delicious. Yeah. So yeah, you have access to the party. You have tickets. You can get in if that's what you'd like to do.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. We gotta. I don't.
Let's go to a party.
Tack
I don't know if they're gonna let you in.
Yeah, Tack is dressed like a Golgari janitor now.
Oh. I'll just sneak in.
That's also possible, definitely.
Tack looks around for like a janitor cart.
I say if you go around the back, I guarantee that there are a bunch of like disaffected Golgari teenagers smoking a J, waiting to go back to wash dishes.
Since Tack definitely knows that, Tack's gonna be like,
I'll see you inside.
Yeah, you're like,
goes around.
I got this, and you go around back. Okay.
I was like,
See you inside. Oh, if you don't see me steal anything, does it count?
Yes. No, not in like a good way, in a bad way. Like, I shouldn't steal anything. And
Tack's already like skipping away on the sugar high.
Rhoda's just quietly panicking because the entire plan involved around having at least one member of the Azorius Guild to like piggyback off of, and now she's just going in entirely alone.
Yeah,
Well,
exactly.
you should have thought about that
Now you're
before
by
you let me
yourself.
follow a murderer.
I didn't let you follow her.
You didn't stop me either.
You walked away from me in my
I say,
darkest time.
I love that this conversation is happening in 2 separate places and you're not actually talking to each other. You're just imagining, yeah, and then she would say, and then I'd say, and then they would say, and I'd be like, yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah, Tack is definitely like practicing the conversation around
The argument that they're gonna have later. Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, great.
like
So-
I do when I'm in my shower.
So Tack, you make your way around the back, looking for another way to get in. And Road, with the ticket in hand that your sister gave you, you approach the front doors. And as you walk in, you see that there are various senators and their spouses, their families. They're all dressed up for this event. Lots of them have like on their if they're in uniform, they have like medals like pinned to them from various conflicts within the city. And it does seem to you that this is where all of the kind of major, I mean, you haven't seen like the Perun, the like leader of the Senate or anything, but they're obviously doing important stuff. But a significant number of very important police functionaries have arrived for this honoring of Dovin Ban, and so you approach the front door holding your ticket, and we fade out to our break there. And when we get back, we'll see where Torgor and Winninger end up. I imagine you're going to come and try to catch up with these two, and then Road and Tack will get you inside, and we'll see the party. So stick around. We will be right back with more.